Hello, welcome to Atrocious Gameplay. Now, this is the second episode in the series of how to start playing the Pokemon TCG. This is a playlist that I'm running on YouTube for beginning players to check out, come watch, because I've seen currently an influx of people coming into our Twitch stream and stuff. So, if you haven't seen the first episode, make sure to go check out the iCard up here. And then real quick, before you watch anything else, I guess, go over to twitch.tv/atrociousgameplay, hit that follow button. That is our Twitch stream. We play the Pokemon trading card game about 5 days a week usually, unless I have something come up otherwise during the week. But we're going to teach you how to become a Pokemon TCG player and how to learn the game and how you should approach the game too, because it could be a little bit daunting, not going to lie. There's a lot of stuff going on. So, before we go into anything, we got to talk about what you need to be looking for, what you need to start at, and kind of give a little bit of explanation of some of the things as well. So let's go and first just give a brief introduction on all the different formats and which one you should start with. Alright, so I've kind of enlarged this for everyone to see, but this is kind of the easiest way for me to explain it. So, if you look at this deck that I have right here, it's Desi Goons. It's just a way for me to name my deck. Don't worry about naming your decks really right now. But there's a lot of different formats, as you can see. All of these checks and X's over here on the side are all different formats that you can actually play on PTCGO. And since there's 5 of them, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of them real quick. This first one at the bottom, going from bottom to top, is kind of in relevancy to you. So this first one on the, I don't even know where my pro YouTuber here, there we go. That's a little bit awkward, but Unlimited, that is basically just playing with friends, doing a whole bunch of shenanigans. There's not really any rules or restrictions. This is perfect for doing like custom formats. You know, maybe you want to mix a little bit of standard and expanded cards, or even like you want to add legacy into standard, which is really crazy and unprecedented. Again, it's just really with friends for you to goof off, maybe test some things out, maybe see something if it works well or not, something of that nature. Going into this next one, this is the first red X on the bottom there. That is called Legacy. Now, Legacy is sort of like a throwback format. So, it is kind of the oldest cards on PTCGO, going up to part of the Black and White series. So, what I'm talking about, this is a format that only uses cards. You can only use cards in this format if they're from Heart Gold, Soul Silver base set to Legendary Treasures in the Black and White era. So very, very old. One could call it a retro format. I'm not exactly sure if this was a format that was competitive back in the day, but it's a little bit interesting because of like the turn 1 supporter rule that maybe you know about and maybe you heard about in the tutorial and your other games against the computer that you may have done before you watched this episode. But Legacy, I don't think you should worry about that for a long time, because I've been playing for about a year competitively, a little over a year, and I don't really even worry about Legacy at all because I don't have a lot of those cards. I usually, if I ever wanted to play it, which I've done once or twice, I usually have to borrow a couple cards from my friends. So don't worry about Legacy for now. It's kind of an old format, a retro format. You can do that once you become a more experienced player. Maybe you want to try it out. The next one, which is what we call Expanded. Expanded is a really interesting format where it goes from Black and White, so anything from the Black and White base set up to the current standard. Now, a lot of people are not happy with this format right now because it is such a wide pool of cards, and you know, the more cards that you have, the more broken combos you can have as well. So I would recommend not necessarily worrying about that one too much, because you're probably going to hit things that are disgustingly broken and you're probably not going to do it. So you might as well wait until you build up your collection a little bit more. So going into this other one right here, it is called Standard. This is going to be the most popular format because this is what is competitively most used. If you watch a lot of Twitch streamers lately, or maybe even some YouTube videos and stuff, you'll see a lot of people doing tournament recaps where they're participating in a tournament, they're showing you their deck, maybe they're telling you like what happened in this. We have a couple of those here on the channel if you want to go check those out. But this one is the most popular. This is the one that people practice the most. If you are wondering what sets it consists of, it is team up to whatever is current. As of right now, it is Darkness Ablaze. That's what I'm meaning by current. Soon it'll be Champion's Path will be the most current set. But that's not even the one that I think that you should worry about right now. The one that I think you should worry about right now, because you are just starting in the game, you just got through the tutorials and stuff, is the theme decks. Now, the theme decks are very, very, very interesting, and you get those that you redeem on PTCGO. Whether that is, I think if you buy a theme deck IRL, you get a code and you can bring it on into this game, or you can use something like your coins to be able to redeem theme decks on PTCGO. So I'm going to show you real quick now how to get theme decks and maybe which ones you should start out using on the ladder. Alright, so I kind of zoomed out there real quick because I was zoomed way in to show you the X's and checks and whatever, but you're going to go all the way up here where the arrow is pointing, and you're going to click on this grocery cart. Now, you'll see all this stuff right here. This is kind of the newest stuff. As you can see, it says the newest set here. So whenever a new set releases and they've got stuff that you can buy in the store with it, for instance, Darkness Ablaze stuff, you will be able to spend your coins to be able to buy all this stuff. This is the featured one. Popular is also another one. This is just the most popular stuff that people are buying currently as of right now. But I would just stick to newest. That's pretty much the most relevant, because you're pretty much always going to want to buy Darkness Ablaze packs. And if you're a theme deck person, which I highly recommend new people do, you know, you're probably going to want to buy the new theme decks. But you'll see here are the booster packs. They go all the way down to that Hard Gold Soul Silver base set. As I mentioned, don't worry about buying booster packs right now. We'll touch on that in a later video and what you can kind of do. What I recommend is you go to this decks tab right here. You go to this decks tab, and here are all the theme decks. Now, if you're unsure what a theme deck is, it is a pre-made deck that you can play with. So you'll get 60 cards. You'll be able to immediately play games. You don't have to worry about building. You can't make any edits to it. And there's a lot of good theme decks here. Again, all the way down to the Heart Gold Soul Silver era in the theme decks. And what you can do is what I just did right there. You can click this little eyeball button and you can actually see what all is in these decks. Now, the decks, in my opinion, are pretty good. The theme decks, I feel like, are getting better and better every year. They give you a lot of playable cards. My favorite one, though, that I think that you should buy right away is this Galarian Surfetch theme deck from Darkness Ablaze. And it's not necessarily for the Pokemon. You know, Galarian Surfetch is a cool Pokemon. People have been trying to use it in other formats to counter things that are very, very good. But the trainers in here, which is these trainers cards, you learn about them in the tutorial and stuff. These are really, really good trainers. Turbo Patch, very, very good card in my personal opinion in the Darkness Ablaze set. Great Ball, a card that has seen a lot more use ever since kind of Rebel Clash came out, in my opinion. We've seen a surge of this card being played, so it is valuable. You know what? You have some free gusting. Maybe you can't afford to get an expensive gust, a really good expensive gust card like Boss's Orders. So you know what? Might as well grab some Pokemon catchers. Very, very cool. Switch cards, my opinion, staples. Usually always in the standard format. Very much a staple in just about every deck. Birdkeeper Toby, I think, should just be in almost every deck. And then arguably one of the best trainer cards right now in any of the formats, a discard draw 7 effect Professor's Research. So that was a long laundry list of good cards. So I highly recommend going out and buying this theme deck. Now it's 500 coins. It's ooh, you can't really see it. Hold on, well, you can actually see it up here. I was gonna say you can't see it really down here, but you can kind of see it up here. So this 500 coins, as you can see, I have 1,000 coins. All right, so once you get 500 coins, which I think you should about have that much once you complete like the tutorial and whatnot against all the computer stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and redeem this. Boom, I get all of this cool stuff, all of these cards in my own personal collection. And then also I get this Galarian Surfetch coin. So as you unlock the theme decks, you do get a cool coin, which is something really cool in my personal opinion. And I highly recommend maybe getting more than one theme deck if possible. I actually recommend getting multiple theme decks, more and more, because I think that you should spend a lot of time in the beginning especially doing theme decks. And as you can see, if we go to the deck manager, which is where I just went to, and you look at this tab right here, this yellow tab, which is, as you can see, pop up theme decks, you can see that I have a ton of theme decks. I have my ones from the beginning stages, and then I have these other ones right here. Some of these I bought specifically for certain cards, which we can talk about in later episodes. Like I believe I bought this one for this Kofagrigus right here. Nope, maybe it wasn't. I actually bought it for this Sableye right here, because the Sableye is pretty cool in expanded. But there's a lot of other great theme decks, and it's good to have a variety in my opinion, because if you play the same thing again and again and again and again, like let's say I played 100 games with this deck, I'm probably going to get bored of this deck. So it's good to buy a couple different decks and to try out a couple different things. Some of my personal favorites that I've bought is this Charizard one, Relentless Flame. I think this is a really good one to buy. Some of these cards are a little bit outdated, but I think it's very easy to play the ladder with it. This one, Battle Mind, is also really good. I highly recommend that because it gets one of the best cards in the game as of right now, and that is Welder, a very good card. And also, people are starting to play this card a little bit, so it's not that bad of an idea to get you a nice shiny one of these personally. But I have climbed up with this deck as well, and there's a lot of good ones. Ones that I have not really bought though that I'm actually going to buy right now is the Zamazenta and Zacian decks. These are really cool decks in my personal opinion from the Sword and Shield era. Usually I recommend buying the kind of the newest ones, but I think these are pretty good, mostly because they give this one card that none of the other theme decks give, and it is the Metal Saucer. For those of you that don't know, Zacian, very popular card, especially if you were collecting before. You may know that Zacian be a very expensive card, and it's a very good one too. So I highly recommend that you go out and buy one of these. I'm gonna buy this. I think the Zamazenta is the better one of the two, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy this one. We get this nice Duraludon here, which is seeing a little bit of play. So again, you get a lot of good stuff. You get a cool Zamazenta coin. I personally prefer Zamazenta over Zacian. And you know what? Let's just continue on. Let me explain to you, now that you have a couple theme decks to your name, let's talk about the ladder a little bit. And if you want to go to the ladder, all you have to do is you go to this plus button, right? Because this is kind of the play. You know, you play against the tutorial, the trainer challenge, some events. Versus is where we want to go to. So once we get to Versus, you're going to come over here. Now, I am right now set in standard. These are all my standard decks that I can play. What I recommend is you click this right here. You get this drop down menu, and look, here are all the formats that we were talking about earlier. Theme deck, standard, expanded, legacy. Again, unlimited is only with friends. You hit the theme deck one. You may have to try to hit it twice because PTCGO is not the most perfect client in the world. And look, you can see all of your theme decks that you own right here, and boom, excellent. Now, every 3 weeks, Pokemon TCG Online gives this sort of ladder reward system. So as you play the Versus, if we were to hit this play button, we would gain these little lightning bolts that I like to call them. You gain lightning bolts by playing. Now, as you're playing, whenever you take a Pokemon, when you KO a Pokemon, or you win a game, you gather lightning bolts. And so the more lightning bolts you have, as you can see, to complete this 25 coin requirement right now, we need 10 lightning bolts. I currently have 231 in here, so this 10, perfect. It's awesome. And then with 30, you get 50 coins, you get a chest, which is something that you can go to your collection, and then once you have that chest, boom, look, I have a chest right here. You can go ahead and open that. We'll save opening stuff until the next episode. I just want to stick to you figuring out kind of how to play theme decks and stuff like that. But again, There are excellent ladder rewards. You get packs from the ladder. You get certain cards. Like if you remember in the first episode, we got a Raichu and a Alolan Raichu GX from completing the tutorial. Now you can get a Pikachu and Zekrom, which is very, very cool. And then there's a second stage, which is 150 coins, 225 coins, a lot of event tickets, another Pikachu and Zekrom, which is very good, 2 Darkness Ablaze packs. But then you get to here, look at this, more Darkness Ablaze, there's 3 of them right here, 600 coins, 5 booster packs, and then also a full art trainer, a max rarity of a certain trainer. Very, very cool in my personal opinion. The ladder is usually pretty good. They kind of rotate between like standard and expanded. They never give out theme decks in ladders, so this is another way to build like your standard collection and things like that, which we'll kind of touch up on later. So what you want to do to start getting into the games is you want to click on what deck you want to play. So I want to play with the Galarian Surfetch theme deck. I just bought it. I want to play it. So you hit this theme deck. It's going to be outlined in the nice bright colors right here, the nice bright greenish whatever line, and then all of a sudden you hit play. You're going to be searching for an opponent. If you have an internet connection, you will be able to play and log in, and boom, it's going to automatically match with somebody else, and you're going to get right into the game. So now you take your knowledge from the tutorial, from the different AI challenges, from the computer, and you go ahead and you play a game. And again, I highly recommend that you continuously play a lot of theme decks. Again, everybody that plays theme decks is on the same playing field, and you can only get that if you play on the theme deck ladder. If you try to bring it into something like expanded or standard or something like that, you're just gonna have a bad time because there's not a lot to offer for you personally. So we're gonna get a good stuff right now. I'm just gonna kind of zoom through this game. I'm gonna speed up recording to show you whether I win or lose. Hopefully I take a knockout, to be honest, but I will show you kind of what's going on. I don't think I want to play Stonejourner. Now, something that I do want to point out as I kind of stop the speed up a little bit, even if you're a good player, you know, you could be one of the best players in the world, but in theme decks, you could lose, because let's look at what it is right now. So my opponent is playing grass Pokemon currently. My Diglett here is weak to grass. So if you hit kind of type disadvantages and people start hitting you for weakness, it's going to be very hard for you to win at times, but you can still do it. Now, Diglett lives. Let's continue on in this turn. Okay. Oh, it's basic Pokemon. So this is also a really good thing. So this is a learning experience that I'm still trying to learn because this is a newer card. Turbo Patch. Know what your cards do, especially when you're playing with a new deck and stuff. So Turbo Patch, this is something really interesting that maybe you noticed or maybe you saw coming. I am not allowed to use Turbo Patch like I originally planned on the Galarian Surfetch, because Turbo Patch only works for basic Pokemon. Once I evolved this Surfetch, it became a stage 1. It's not a basic anymore. So I can't accelerate that energy like I originally planned. I just got ahead of myself. So you gotta really be careful, especially when you're doing this. And again, this is why I highly recommend that you play the theme deck ladder, because you gotta learn what your cards do, you know? So highly encourage that you take time to try that out and learn your cards. But anyways, back to the zooming. So yeah, if you're watching this right now, there's pretty much no way that we can win this. They set themselves up to be able to just string knockouts. Hitting for weakness is kind of a big deal sometimes in the theme deck, because like they can one-shot you, but then you can't one-shot them usually. So that's just how it is sometimes. You're gonna run into that sometimes on the theme deck ladder. But look, even though we lost, we still gained about 4 because we had 2 prizes left. We took 4 because remember, right, you got to take 6 prizes in a game. That's one of your win conditions. You take 6 prizes to win the game. We took 4 of them. We got 4 lightning bolts. So super cool. We did climb a little bit on the ladder. And just kind of going into the ladder, I had mentioned how there were different things like the chests, the packs, the cards. But there's these tickets that you can get, and if you see the tickets down here and you see that I have tickets up here, you're like, oh, you've got like 200 tickets. Like, what can you do with your tickets? So what you can do, if you even want to do this, because we could do this right now if we really wanted to, you can go into this section, which is the events tab over on PTCG on the play, and you can click for a mini tournament that you can do now. If you really want to get into it, because there are some good rewards, let me talk about what this is first. You can choose between standard, expanded, or theme tournaments. Now, entries for theme tournaments, because usually beginning players play the theme tournaments, it is lower than a standard or expanded event. So you get 4 tickets, boom, you can enter in this, and it's going to be 3 rounds. It's basically a bracket of 8 people. It's 8 people per tournament. And so if you win round 1, you go to the semifinals. You win the semifinals, you go and you win. And then based on how you do, you can get a lot of different prizes. So as you can see here, 5th through 8th place, you get a chest. Not anything like super exciting, but it is still something, right? As a reward, you get something for doing it. If you make it to the semifinals, you will get 50 trainer tokens and a random standard booster pack. Remember, we said standard earlier was team up to Darkness Ablaze. And then if you get 2nd place, you're the runner-up, you get 100 coins plus a random pack and a Darkness Ablaze pack, which right now is the most valuable pack in terms of the stuff of standard that you're going to get. And then for 1st place, you just get more rewards, 2 packs instead of 1. You get a random booster and then 200 coins, which you could actually go to buy more packs or more theme decks of what you do. I'm not going to show you much tournaments right now. That is something that y'all can find out for yourself if you want to do that and try that out. It's basically just 3 games. You don't have to add anybody in the tournament. Like, you don't have to be friends with any of them or things like that. You just go in and, you know what, you just battle 3 people at a time, or only 1 if you get bounced round 1 like I do sometimes. It happens. Again, theme decks are kind of a little wild. It depends on the matchup a lot, but it's still a really, really good thing in my personal opinion, because again, everybody's on the same exact level, and as you're completing the ladder and stuff, you'll build up your collection. You'll try to be able to garner different things, like Aurora Energy is a very, very good card. A whole bunch of these different trainers, as you can see here, you'll get a bunch of trainers through just playing the game, completing the ladder, opening the pack rewards. You get all these cards too, like here's a secret rare right here that I got. 2 of them I have actually. And so you get a lot of good stuff. You get a lot of good stuff, both of collecting and to be able to build stuff. And as you build your collection, you'll be able to build some of the best decks in the standard format. Like, especially if you're a collector, you know who this is, you know who this big daddy is. But we're going to give you the best tips on collecting and how to build your decks. And you know what, where can you get an idea of like what a good deck actually is? We're going to cover that in the next video. So if you like what you see, make sure like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. This is mainly for not only people on YouTube, I guess, to see this, but also this is mainly for people who come in my Twitch stream and be like, hey, I just learned, or I just downloaded this game, I want to learn how to play. So this playlist is for a lot of you people, but if you're new here, go check out that link down below, twitch.tv/atrociousgameplay. We have a good time, we play the Pokemon trading card game. I try to teach you all as much as possible while playing some of the best decks and things like that, and you know what? We just overall have a good time. We don't shame anybody for being a new player. We actually invite them in. We give them a nice hug. Social gathering, or social distancing though. But you know what? Again, we have a good time. So I hope you enjoy this. Again, our next thing is some great resources that you can use to be able to build decks. Thank you again for watching. Remember, we're not very good at video games or card games, but we have a fun time doing it. This video is a little long, mostly because of the battle, though, but I'll speed through that. But anyways, hope you have a great rest of the day. See you later, alligators. You look cute today.